I took a 12-hour bus ride just to make it to my dad's retirement party. Spent my $300 on a custom watch with his name engraved. When I walked in, my sister burst out laughing. Well, look who finally crawled out of whatever hole he's been hiding in. The family F***CK up. My mom ripped the box out of my hands, didn't even look at me, just sneered. At least you got him something that's not completely worthless for once. My uncle shouted from across the room, "Lock up your purses, the moocher's back in town." Everyone laughed, thought it was a joke, until I saw my old room. Door gone, mattress dumped in the driveway, my stuff scattered like trash. My brother walked out wearing my jacket and said, "We turned that room into a home gym. You don't live here anymore." I turned to my dad. He just took a sip of his whiskey and said, "You ghost us for years and think you deserve a welcome parade?" Then, they told me if I ever want to earn my place back in this house, I'd have to pay $2,000 in back rent. I just smiled and left. 2 weeks later, the whole family group chat exploded. So right off the bat, I knew something was off when I finally walked up to my parents' place after the bus ride. I'm standing there, suitcase in one hand, watch box in the other. And my mom's got this look like she's not sure if she recognizes me or if she's just annoyed I showed up at all. Not like I expected a marching band, but I mean it's been a while. You'd think I was some random dude selling solar panels or something, not her actual son who just spent half a day on a Greyhound and the last of his spare cash on a decent present anyway. I knock, right? And immediately I hear voices inside, like they're already talking about me. Nobody says anything for a good minute. Then my sister, Nicole, classic, opens the door and just stands there, blocking the entry, grinning like she's on reality TV. She kind of glances down at my bag and then at the watch box, says something to the effect of, well, look who finally crawled out of whatever hole he's been hiding in. The family F up. Not even a hello, just that. And everyone in the living room laughs like it's open mic night at my expense. So yeah, cool, great start. I step in, try to play it cool, ignore her, and look for my dad. He's across the room with this little circle of people, Uncle Kurt, some neighbors, everyone already a few drinks deep. I catch his eye for half a second. He nods, then goes back to his glass. No one even asks how I am or how the ride was. Nothing. My mom just walks over, literally rips the watch box out of my hand, doesn't even look at me, just says loud enough for the whole room to hear, "At least you got him something that's not completely worthless for once." Like I'm some kid who brought home a failed report card. I want to say something, but honestly, I just want the ground to open up and swallow me. And then Uncle Kurt, who I swear only ever shows up to family stuff to stir the pot, yells from the couch, "Lock up your purses, the moocher's back in town." Again, more laughter. I try to brush it off, say, "Hey, nice to see you too," but nobody's even listening. It's like I'm just background noise at my own dad's party. I'm not gonna lie, I was mad, but it's not like I expected much else. This isn't new. I always got the hand-me-downs. Always the one who never quite lived up to whatever standard they had in mind. Meanwhile, Jared, my younger brother, golden child, obviously, is walking around in my old jacket like it's his. I ask about it. He just shrugs, says, "Oh yeah, your room's a gym now. You don't live here anymore." Like I'm supposed to laugh along with that. I go to check my old room anyway, just out of habit. And there's literally no door. Mattress is out on the driveway. Old posters ripped down. My stuff in garbage bags tossed up against the wall in the hallway. I see my old PS4, cords just in a knot, some of my books missing, a couple of boxes half open with clothes spilling out. Looks like someone tried to pick through them for anything half decent but gave up. I hear Jared behind me, talking to someone about how they've been wanting more space for the bench and weights, and how there's no point keeping junk from someone who doesn't even visit. By this point, I'm not even trying to hide how pissed I am. I grab my suitcase and head back toward the kitchen, where my mom's now making a show of unwrapping the watch in front of a couple of her friends. They're looking at it, nodding, but I can tell she's already annoyed that I didn't get something nicer. Like what, a car? Sure, finally, I find my dad in the backyard standing by himself with a drink. I stand there, waiting for him to say something, anything. He finally says, "So you ghost us for years and think you deserve a welcome parade?" I tell him I just wanted to be here. Didn't expect a parade, just maybe not to get roasted by the whole family. He shrugs, says that's what happens when you disappear. You become the punchline. I try to explain, but he doesn't care. Then the whole back rent thing comes up. Jared, Nicole, my mom, Uncle Kurt, all standing around now. They say if I want to earn my place back, I'll need to pay $2,000 in back rent for the time I wasn't helping out. I literally laugh because I think it's a joke, but they're dead serious. My mom says it's only fair since everyone else contributes and I've just been coasting. Jared says maybe I should try actually being part of the family for once, so I just stare at them. I know they're waiting for me to blow up, to make a scene, but I'm not giving them. Instead, I pick up my bag, walk through the living room. Nicole tries to block my way. I push past her, no apology, and head outside. Behind me, I hear Uncle Kurt say something about good riddance, and my mom slams the door harder than necessary. I stood out there for a second, trying to decide if I should just leave the watch on the porch or take it and sell it for bus fare. LOL. Not like I could get anything for it now. I left it. I started walking, didn't even check my phone for directions. I just needed to move. I was angry, but more than that, I was tired of being the family scapegoat. They say I ghosted them, but they never call, never text unless they want something. Last time I tried to come home, they made a huge show about me being late for dinner. Like I was still 12, I ended up at a friend's place that night. Crashed on his couch, didn't say much. Next morning, I checked my phone. Saw like 6 missed calls from various family members, none of them with an actual apology or anything. Just more of the same, jokes, digs, reminders that I'm not really one of them. But here's the thing. I'm done letting them get off that easy. I don't care if they think I'm the black sheep or whatever. I've spent too long being the butt of every joke, the one who pays for it all in the end, and I'm not interested in playing along anymore. So that's where I left it. Suitcase by the door, watch on the porch, family inside laughing about how I finally showed up. I walked away, but I'm not just letting it slide this time. What happens next? Let's just say, if they want to call me the moocher, I'll show them what that actually looks like. Update 1. Alright, so this is where it goes from just regular family BS to something else. And honestly, I'm still a little shocked at how fast my head flipped from trying to play peacemaker to just, nah, screw it. I'm done being nice. So after that whole scene at my parents' place, I didn't go straight home. I crashed at my buddy's apartment, shout out to Jasper for always having beer and a couch with only minimal dog hair, and tried to decompress. Slept like trash, woke up at 6. Can't say I was surprised to see 0 texts from anyone actually apologizing. Just group chat spam, some laughing emojis, and Jared, my brother, sending a photo of my old mattress in the driveway with the caption, "Free to a good home." Hilarious. I packed up what was left of my stuff the next morning. As I was dragging that busted suitcase out of my parents' driveway, I noticed a box sitting on top of the trash bins. It was half open, paperwork spilling out everywhere, old envelopes, some receipts, nothing I really wanted to deal with. But I saw a folder with my name scribbled on it, and IDK just grabbed it. So I get back to my place, dump everything on the floor, and start sifting through it mostly to distract myself from the urge to send a truly nuclear text to the family group chat. There's tax stuff, warranty cards, a bunch of old school photos from when I still had braces, and then, man, this is where it gets wild. I find a copy of that loan agreement from 10 years ago, notarized, my signature, my dad's signature. I stared at it for a while, like, is this real? Did they really just bury it in a box with old junk mail? And here's the thing. If you've never had your own family just straight up pretend you never did something major for them, it's hard to explain how weird it feels. Like you're the villain in their story for leaving, but they get to keep the stuff you gave like it's theirs. Anyway, quick recap for anyone new. 10 years ago, Dad's business was basically toast. I had a small inheritance from Grandma, 40 grand, and everyone guilt-tripped me into investing in the family legacy. They drew up a real agreement, notarized and everything, sent me a check for interest every once in a while, then just stopped. No one ever mentioned it again. I brought it up a couple times at holidays, always got brushed off. Dad would say, "Oh, we'll sort it out. I'm good for it." Then they'd change the subject, or someone would bring out dessert or whatever. So after the party fiasco, I sat down and did the math. If I'd put that money in literally any half-decent index fund, I'd have doubled it by now, but instead my family treated me like a beggar in my own house. I texted Jared about the loan, kept it chill, just said, "Hey, you remember the loan I made to Dad?" He left me on read. A few hours later, Nicole, my sister, texted with the classic, "Oh my God, you're still going on about that. It was forever ago. Let it go." So yeah, no help there. I called my mom, just to see if she'd pretend to not remember too. She picked up, gave me the whole, "We're busy, Travis. Can you call later?" I told her I wanted to talk about the money I loaned Dad. She went silent, then said, "You really need to grow up. This is embarrassing." So cool. That's how they want to play it. At that point, I just got mad. Not performative mad, like cold, focused. Let's see how you handle this mad. I Googled compound interest calculators, started adding it up. I called a lawyer. Not some family friend, just a regular local guy whose number I found online. No, I'm not some genius who has a legal team on speed dial. I just looked up reviews and picked someone who sounded competent. I sent the lawyer the paperwork, the agreement, my emails, everything. He calls me back after a day, says, "Yeah, this is legit. And by the way, with interest, that's about 78 grand now. I nearly dropped my phone, not even gonna lie. So I tell him, look, I want to do this by the book. Send a demand letter, make it certified. Whatever you've got to do. He's like, do you want to try to talk to them first? I say, no, I'm done talking. Here's where it starts getting fun. The lawyer drafts a letter, old school, printed on letterhead, with the details spelled out in plain English. Pay back the principal and interest in 60 days, or he'll file a lien on dad's business assets. I pay the retainer, sign a couple forms, and just like that, it's out of my hands. The next day, I get a text from Jared, something about how I'm acting like a child and I shouldn't air family business outside the family. I ignore it. Then Nicole tries to call, leaves a voicemail that's just her sighing for 30 seconds and then hanging up. My mom doesn't call at all, which, TBH, is on brand. The weirdest thing is how quiet it got all of a sudden. Group chat slows down, no more jokes, no more memes about me being homeless or too broke to buy real gifts. I guess they thought I was bluffing at first, or maybe they just didn't think I'd follow through. Meanwhile, I'm just living my regular life, scrolling through Reddit and doom-scrolling Twitter, waiting to see what happens next. I start thinking about all the times I bailed Jared out of a bad situation, or Nicole needed a ride at 2 a.m., or my mom wanted someone to help her move furniture. Not once did I hold it over their heads, but the second I needed some basic respect, I got nothing. I knew this was the right move, but I can't say I didn't feel a little weird about bringing lawyers into it. I mean, I'm not the guy who sues his own family. But you call me a moocher? You dump my stuff in the street? You make me pay back rent? Nah, I don't owe you silence. So that's where I'm at. 60 days on the clock, letter sent, and suddenly my phone is a lot quieter. I don't know exactly what they'll do next, but I know one thing. They wanted to treat me like an outsider? Fine. I'm leaning into it. Next part's where things start to get loud. And NGL, I'm kinda looking forward to it. Update 2. So I guess I figured the lawyer letter would make some noise, but man, I way underestimated just how hard the family would lose it. Not even a full day after the letter landed, and my phone was already lighting up like I'd posted a confession to murder on Facebook. It wasn't just texts either. 3 missed calls from mom before 10 a.m., Jared calling twice back to back. I didn't answer, he hates voicemail. Then Nicole spamming the group chat with a wall of all caps and the occasional skull emoji like she's trying to hex me through the screen. The weird part? It was quiet for about a week after I sent it, like weirdly quiet. I was out walking to grab coffee and I realized no new family notification. Nothing. It almost felt like they were just gonna ghost me. Not that I cared, but then out of nowhere, everything hit at once. If you've ever watched a group chat go from 0 to DEFCON 1 in under 5 minutes, you know the feeling. Nicole's first message wasn't even words, just a screenshot of the lawyer's letter. They actually sent her a pic of it. Why? IDK, with a whole bunch of question marks. Then she follows up with, what did you do? Dad's freaking out. Are you happy now? Mom's next, but she doesn't even bother with text. She leaves a long voice note which I listen to out of morbid curiosity. 2 straight minutes of her crying, then calling me heartless, begging me to think about what I'm doing to the family. Then Uncle Kurt jumps in, like he's been waiting for his moment. He sends this long rant about how I'm bleeding my father dry, how I should be ashamed, how I'll never see a penny because family doesn't sue family. I can picture him in that ugly chair in their den, waving his beer around, barely holding it together. And then, of course, Jared. His messages are short. Just, you're a scumbag, you're dead to us, don't ever show your face here again. He's always been good at the one-liner, not so much the follow-through. It's honestly wild how fast everyone flipped the script. Like, when they were calling me a moocher and making me pay rent for an old twin bed, that was just tough love. But as soon as I want my actual money back, suddenly I'm the one destroying the family. For a second I thought maybe I'd pushed too hard. Not out of guilt. More just, is this really happening? Like, did I just nuke my own family group chat for real? But then I remembered. They made it clear I was expendable. If I'm gonna be the villain, fine, I'll play the part. The escalation kept going. Mom started texting late at night, like after midnight, asking if I'd just talked to Dad. She said he hadn't slept, that he'd been up pacing, worrying about the business. I know what that means. He's probably worried about the sale he's been bragging about for months. Then, boom, Uncle Kurt again, this time trying to get me to settle for a couple grand. He says, you want money? Fine, take $2,000 and call it even. The exact amount they tried to squeeze out of me for back rent. I laughed out loud at that one. Didn't even reply. It's not just them either. I got a text from one of Dad's old work buddies, who I barely spoke to in high school, saying I should drop it for everyone's sake. I guess word's out. I started checking in with a friend just to make sure I wasn't losing it. He says, dude, your family's gaslighting you. Don't fold. He's right, TBH. I kept all the receipts, All the messages. Not because I need ammo, just because I know how slippery they get when money's on the table. Jared tried calling again, this time sounding almost normal, like, "Hey, can we just talk?" I told him, "You want to talk? Pay the money." He hung up. Then came the guilt trip parade. Nicole sends a photo of Dad looking tired, sitting at the kitchen table, head in his hands. No context, just that. I didn't reply. By the end of the week, I had like 20 voice notes, and every single one was either someone crying, yelling, or trying to cut a deal. I saved them all, just in case. My lawyer called to check in, said they'd gotten a response from their end. Just a lot of angry calls, no real counteroffer, no payment. He said, "We just wait it out now." So that's where it stands. They're scrambling. Business is apparently not as bulletproof as they made it seem, which, let's be real, explains why Dad was so desperate a decade ago. I'm getting calls from numbers I don't even recognize, probably friends of friends, all with the same be the bigger person garbage. I'm not budging. They wanted to treat me like a nobody? Fine. I'm nobody, but I'm nobody who's owed 78 grand plus every cent of respect they never gave me. The best part? For the first time in years, I actually feel like I'm in control. I'm not waiting for permission to be part of the family. I'm not asking for scraps. I'm not playing the clown for their amusement. If they want to act like this is the end of the world, cool. Let them sweat. 60 days is ticking down, and now I'm just watching, waiting to see which one of them cracks first. If you'd told me last year I'd be the one holding the detonator, I'd have laughed. But here we are. I'll update when the dust settles. Or, honestly, if it gets even messier. Something tells me this isn't even the peak. Final update. So I'll just open with this. I never thought I'd see the day where the same people who mocked me for being the family F***CK up would be blowing up my phone like it's their only lifeline. But here we are. And it's not even satisfying in the way you imagine when you're younger, and you dream about making your family finally realize what they did. It's messier, louder, and way more desperate than I ever pictured. It started with the missed calls. Like, not just a couple, but every hour, all hours. Nicole, Jared, my mom, even Kurt, who hates talking on the phone and always makes someone else call for it. My phone would buzz so much I started just leaving it face down and turning the ringer off. I'd see the notifications later, voicemails, some just mumbling, some yelling, some you could hear people fighting in the background. My mom left a dozen voice notes, all different flavors, some begging, some just crying, some snapping at me to stop being so cold. I guess the real turning point was when I got a message from a neighbor back home, not even a close one. Just the guy who sometimes mows his lawn at the same time as my dad. He said there was a scene in the front yard, asked if everything was okay. I didn't even know what to say, so I just said, "Yeah, family stuff. Thanks for checking in." Not long after, I got a video. Nicole must have sent it to someone else, and it made the rounds. My dad, shirtless in broad daylight, was in the front yard just hurling furniture onto the grass. Like full on, dragging a recliner out the door, yelling at my mom, neighbors watching, kids on scooters stopping at the curb. My mom was on the lawn just sitting there, not even trying to help, just watching. At one point, she collapses forward, hands on her face, sobbing so hard you could hear it over the traffic. Nicole tried to block Dad from tossing a table into the street and got shoved out of the way. Not hard enough to hurt her, just enough that she started screaming back at him. Kurt showed up and tried to get between them, almost took a swing at Dad but stopped himself. People across the street were watching, some filming, but no one's calling anyone because, let's be real, this family's been a circus for years. The group chat was melting down. It was all caps, threats, guilt, the whole cycle. Jared said if I didn't answer, he'd drive over and make me talk like a man. I just blocked his number for a while. Nicole left a voice note, voice shaking, literally begging me to stop. Said I was destroying everything, that Dad's retirement deal was falling apart and they needed time, needed me to reconsider. Mom sent a text that just said, "Please, we need you. Please pick up. We'll do anything." I didn't answer. Not one call, not one message. I sent everything to my lawyer and told him to keep me updated. Nothing more. I know it sounds harsh, but after years of being the family's emotional trash can, I don't owe them a single thing. There were real consequences, real fast. Dad's business partner, I heard through a mutual friend, not even someone I talk to much, apparently freaked out when he saw the lien threat and started pulling out of deals. The retirement sale stalled. Suddenly, the successful business wasn't looking so hot, and my moocher loan was now the boulder in the road. The best part? The same people who told me to pay back rent, who tossed my stuff out like garbage, who laughed in my face and shoved me around in my own old house. Now they were desperate. They'd try to twist it, saying I was selfish, that I was ruining my own father, that I was acting like a stranger. But it was all just noise. I started getting messages from numbers I didn't even know. Family friends, old neighbors, maybe even someone from Dad's bowling league. All with the same plea. Can't you just let it go, Travis? It's family. I didn't even bother responding. The only thing that almost got to me was seeing my mom just IDK collapse on the grass. But then I remembered every time she took someone else's side. Every time she snatched something out of my hands or made a snide comment so her friends could laugh. I remembered the look on Jared's face when he said I didn't live there anymore. I remembered them all circling up and telling me to pay 2 grand in back rent just to be allowed in the house. So yeah, I let them sweat. 60 days, no payment, no apology, no attempt to actually talk like adults. Just more threats and guilt. My lawyer filed the lien. The group chat went silent for a day, then exploded again. But I didn't care anymore. I muted the whole thing. I know there's people reading this thinking, wow, that's cold, or you should have just walked away, or family's family, or whatever. But you spend your whole life being the doormat, and then one day you realize you don't have to take it. You can stand up. You can make them feel even a piece of what they put you through. I don't know what happens next. Maybe they lose the business. Maybe they finally get it together. Maybe they just blame me forever. I'm not waiting around to find out. For the first time, I feel like I actually defended myself. Not perfectly, not clean, but I did it. So to anyone else sitting on years of receipts, tired of being the family punchline, sometimes you just gotta be the villain in their story. At least this time, I gotta write the ending.